Michelle Hauser. Welcome to another cooking demo for a chef in med school. This cooking demo will show you how to make dry beans. And the first question everyone asks me is, why in the world would you make dry beans? Why not just use them out of the can or whatnot? So there are a few reasons. One, they definitely taste better. And I know that's a hard sell for some of you when it's so easy to get a can of beans. A lot of the reason that I do some of these videos is also to teach cooking on a budget, and so I can't emphasize enough how much less expensive it is to cook dry beans from scratch. Today I just have a pound of beans, which cost about $1 at the grocery store, but if you're cooking a lot of them, or have a family, you can buy them in a 10 or a 20 pound bag for about $7, so they're very inexpensive. And 1 pound of beans that's dry, once cooked, equals about 4 cans. So even this way, with just 1 pound, it's at least 4 times as inexpensive. A couple other reasons. There's a lot less salt. So canned beans have tons of sodium, and if you're at all concerned about how much salt you're taking in, then this is a great option. You can, actually, when you're cooking beans, adding any salt or any acidic ingredient at all before they're pretty much completely done really inhibits the cooking, and so they either won't get done or they take forever to get done. So you don't want to add any salt or any, say, tomato product or vinegar or anything that's acidic to the beans while they're cooking. So the way we'll make them today, they'll be completely free of sodium. So, and a quick side note, if you do want to use cans of beans and you want to reduce the sodium a little bit, one thing that you can do that will also make them taste better is to take a strainer, dump the can of beans into the strainer, and run it under some cold water briefly, and that will rinse off a lot of the salt and other sediment that comes in the cans with the beans. So just, if you're in a hurry and you want to use the cans of beans. So the first thing that you want to do is you always want to rinse the beans. So what we'll do is we'll put these in a container that is a little bit see-through so you can see what I'm doing. And the first thing you want to do is submerge them in water. And then what I do is I just kind of sift around in here. And once in a while there'll be a rock or some beans that are just empty skins, and they'll float to the top. So you can take out the beans that don't look so good that are floating and any rocks. Ooh, there's a rock. So, there it is. So yeah, there is definitely a rock in there. So I guess I don't usually find them. I guess it was a good thing I did that today. So then we will drain out the water. You don't have to use a strainer. You can just use your hand to do this too. And again, these videos have a 10-minute limit, so I'm just going to pretty much explain to you how I do this today. I won't be able to actually physically show you everything. So the next thing you have to do with dry beans is soak them overnight. And pretty much that just requires, 6 hours or so. You want to put them in a container that has a lot of room for them to expand. So these ones, after they sit overnight, will actually end up about twice as big, or take up twice as much of this container than they do right now. So pretend they've soaked overnight. And then what you want to do is, before you cook them, you always want to change the water. And the reason you want to do that is because a lot of the sugars in the beans, the polysaccharides that cause gas and discomfort, will actually leach out into this water. So by getting rid of the water, you will actually get rid of a lot of that and save yourself a lot of discomfort. So I've gotten rid of the water, and then, so I don't have my back to you, I'll take the pan. Here, we'll pretend we're at the stove. Beans in there, and I'll put at least enough water to cover the soaked beans by at least an inch. And you really don't have to add anything else. You could add, you could use a different liquid or add some dry herbs or spices or whatnot to this if you want to give it a little bit of flavor. In traditional Mexican cooking, if you're making beans, you would use an herb called epazote, or you could just throw a sprig of thyme or some bay leaves in there if you wanted. But I'm just going to have it be just water. It's easier. And so what I would do is I would bring this to a rolling boil, and then I would turn the heat down until it's just barely bubbling. And the reason you don't want to cook it for the full time at a rolling boil is that it will actually cause the beans to break down and disintegrate. And whereas just having it barely bubbling will help the beans to heat and absorb the water and cook, but you'll end up with a much better texture. And so, how long do they take? It really depends on the bean. It really depends on how dry, how long the bean has been in the cupboard. I can't give you an exact number. It will never get done before a half hour. So what you can do is say a half hour goes by when these are just kind of cooking uncovered on the stove, and then what I would have you do the first couple times at least, just so you can get a sense of how beans cook, is to fish one out and just put it in between your teeth and bite down. And what you'll notice is that right in the center of the bean, it's very firm, and then that will be surrounded by kind of a starchy, partially cooked bean. And what you want to do is taste it every 10 or 15 minutes, and you'll notice that that firmness in the center gradually becomes just kind of starchy and even, and the texture you normally notice beans to be when you eat them, all the way through. And the beans are done when it's the same texture all the way through, but you don't want to cook them until they break down and they become mushy. So when it gets just done, just even texture all the way through, that's when they're finished. So you can pull them off the heat at that point, and if you want to keep the cooking water, you can. Again, if you want to get rid of some of those sugars, you can just drain them. And so we're pretending these are the fully cooked beans now. What I do is, again, I'm very busy. I can't do this every time I want to make beans. So what I usually do is anytime I'm at home and I have something to do like laundry or studying or work, then I'll put a pot of beans or grains on to cook. And then I'll do what I'm going to show you now to store them away so that I have kind of instant access to these helpful ingredients when I eat them. So you can use any container. I tend to like to use Ziploc bags because they don't take any extra space in the freezer. And what you'll want to do is take a 1/2 cup measure like this one, or however you want to measure it out. And I take 3 of those, and I measure 1.5 cups of the fully cooked beans into a Ziploc bag, and then I just zip it closed, get all the extra air out, flatten it out like that, and put it in the freezer. And that is the equivalent of 1 can of beans. And again, you get about 4 of these for every pound of beans you make. And then when you want to use them, all you do is, it'll be kind of like a solid brick of beans. You can just kind of slam them on the counter like that and break it up a little bit. And then you can take out as much or as little as you need. And you can microwave them to defrost them, or just put them in whatever you're making on the stove and heat them that way. And they're done right away. It's as easy as that. Again, as always, there is a much more detailed description of what I've done today at the blog, which you can find at achefinmedschool.blogspot.com. And you can also make comments or get in touch with me through the blog and send questions. And if you look through the blog posts, I tend to answer the questions in the comment section under the appropriate posts. So you can look there for more information about each of the recipes. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. Take care.